Yeah, formal welcome to Amitabh and Jill. What we will do is we'll wait for a few more minutes for the other people to join. In the meantime, let's do a little bit of an introduction about ourselves. So if you can go around and just speak freely about whatever that you feel like sharing, just go ahead and share.
Okay, I can just say I'm Jill, based in Mumbai. I've been coaching for the last 10 years, primarily. And yeah, MCC is the next piece. So kind of had a natural progression and looking at doing some development, the mentoring, kind of just starting that stage of the process.
Sure.
So yeah, so synchronistically, I was just setting out on 2025 to find a program.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what I've been doing the last couple of days this week, is speaking for level 3 programs.
Sure.
So looking at level 3 and understanding what the requirements are and how they're structured. What does 75 hours mean? What is the portfolio path? What is level 3 path? So I'm kind of in that
Sure. Sure.
process of understanding. So I mean, I think
Ab-
I've come to the right place in terms of a few more nuts and bolts. So
Yeah.
about it.
Absolutely. Amitabh, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, I've been coaching for post-credentialing about 10 years plus. I shifted in from the consulting side. I've been consulting before that. And similar journey in the sense that I really didn't feel the need for an MCC, even though I qualified for a PCC quite some time. It seemed adequate, at least for whatever practice I was getting through. But I feel that, that mastery thing is very tempting to subject yourself to anything of that variety. So there is not so much about business need from my side, but at least to see that I do qualify. And I'm slightly picky and choosy about what I want to do, even when I practice as a coach. So that's why this portfolio path of whatever you talked about is a little more appealing rather than go through the gamut of what is taught. So I've been looking out for what I want to look at for the last year and a half. I've been basically looking at vertical development or developmental coaching if you really want to do it. And I don't have a background in psychology so much. I've been really studying positive psychology. So the portfolio path kind of suits me. I think if I can pick and choose and sort of that's my preliminary hypothesis.
Sure.
So
Sure.
that's what I wanted to explore.
Surya, I would like you to go ahead and introduce yourself. And then maybe I will, if nobody else is there, I will just talk a little bit about myself and we can get to the discussion.
Hello, hi. Yeah, good evening, everybody. And just in somebody's place. Okay. Yeah, I'm Surya Prakash. Hi, Srikant. I could
Hi.
also see others there. Hi, Ashwini is also here. Hi. Yeah, I have been into the coaching, training, supervision space for the last 3 decades, and I've been a professor of organizational behavior also during the period until recently. So right now, I'm focusing more on life coaching and team coaching as an integrative coach. And I also have my transaction analysis training and supervision practice. Last year or mid last year, I did my PCC through the portfolio route. And of course, Srikanth has been very helpful and supportive in guiding me through that process. So I'm actually looking at, I know it's a long way, what does it involve to go to the MCC through the portfolio route? And that's where I am here.
Sure. Hi, Shivani. We are just doing a round of introductions. Please go ahead and introduce yourself to the other people in the session.
Oh, hello. Hello, everyone. I'm Shivani. I'm joining from Bangalore. I'm currently in ICF PCC, and I'm joining this session to refresh my knowledge of pursuing MCC through the portfolio path. Thank you.
All right. So if all of you can come on video, it will be helpful because very few people are here, but you can just keep eating, no problem, Jill. You just continue to eat your dinner, perfectly fine. Yeah, that's okay. So a little bit of background about myself, and we can just jump into the discussion where we're going to keep it open, right? So I got into my coach training sometime in 2009, November. I was a senior leader at Microsoft that time. I got trained for 60 hours and had a lot of opportunities to coach employees in Microsoft. Then I said, I'm a good coach now. Let me quit and start my own coaching practice. 2011, I started my coaching practice. I didn't know how to run a coaching business, so I wound up after 2 years. Then came back. I had not got my credentials. 2014, I enrolled for my PCC training. ACHGH, I got my credentials. Started the business again. This time also I didn't get it right, so I just wound up and went back and did consulting. 2020, when the middle of the pandemic, I lost my consulting assignment. I had to do something. So me and my son, we started this coaching business together. For me, it was the third time. For him, it was the first time. 2020 September, we started primarily focused on coaching people from the corporate. In the process, my son got his ACC credentials. 2023, in the beginning, there were few coaches who reached out to me who had done training from other education institutes, wanting to get their ACC, PCC credentials. That's when I started mentoring coaches one-on-one. And then some of them put a gun on my head and say, you should get into training. So I piloted a ICF level 1 batch in 2023 September, ran it for 4 months. 2024, last year, one of my mentees who got their ACC in 2023 and same year they got the PCC as well, they wanted to do their MCC. And so I said, okay, let me think over it. And I just put a cohort together. Before that, I had already mentored somebody on the MCC journey through the portfolio path one-on-one. So my first MCC cohort started in January last year with 4 PCC coaches. After that, I started a PCC portfolio cohort with 7 coaches. In the last year, I have run about 3 MCC cohorts, totaling up to plus 5, 9, 16 coaches who have gone through my mentoring. Out of which, last Saturday, 2 people got their MCC recordings cleared, so they're going to sit for their exam. Today, 1 person got 2 of the recordings cleared. Yeah. So there are maybe about another, the 1 person who did one-on-one mentoring with me, that person applied last year, January, got the credentials in last year, May. Apart from that, there's 1 more person who's applied in December. We will have 3 or 4 more people applying in the next 3-4 months. All in all, minimum 10 people should get their MCC credentials through the portfolio path under my mentoring this year. That's just to put it on record. Okay. Now, before Ashwini, if you're there, just get that poll. We'll just spend about just 1 single poll with just 1 question, just to get an idea of where you all stand as far as your credentialing is concerned. And then I will answer questions, whatever that you may have on the portfolio.
The poll is on and answers are coming in.
All right. Okay. Yeah, 4 people have responded. Ashwini, you can share the results. Okay. 1,500, 2 people.
Sorry, I think there's a lag for you. I've reshared the results.
Okay. All right, you can stop sharing it. Okay, so what is the portfolio path? I will explain the, okay. Before I get there, how many of you know what a portfolio path is other than Surya? Okay, Shani, you know what a portfolio path is? Okay, what's your understanding of a portfolio?
So my understanding is there are 3 paths to a credential. One is where the ACSTH, the ACTP, which is now level 2, the other things. And the third is portfolio path, where we don't need to do our training from just one institute, the entire amount of training, but it can be a mixture of different kinds of trainings that we've done from different institutions or even non-ICF accredited programs. And we have mentoring on top of that. And my understanding is that there is a little bit more documentation process because we need to, as in, align as to why we think this training is equivalent to what somebody else is doing as in a structured program in terms of how it aligns with the different competencies, etc. And I think there's the recording involved as well as the mentoring. And I think one of the things that I remember for MCC is that there is no other way to get your recording evaluated. It has to go to ICF, irrespective of if you go through the structured program through an institution or directly through the portfolio path. So that's my brief understanding. Yeah.
Jill, what do you know more than what Shivani shared?
Yes, pretty much the same. Just this idea that, yeah, the school is not going to evaluate the recordings. Everything goes through ICF, which is quite different than my personal experience with PCC.
Yeah.
So yes, this idea, and I'm actually not really quite clear about this 200 hours of coach specific education, like how it's evaluated and how to explain it. Because I'm kind of on the fence actually about which way to kind of go about.
Yeah. I will clarify all the questions. Amitabh, what is your understanding of the portfolio path?
Yeah, it's fairly similar to what Shivani talked about. In fact, I couldn't see anything else, excepting that, if there is any specific piece, like in my case, I want to really concentrate my study on. And if I can assemble it, I actually fulfill a personal ambition far more than any structured course, especially at the MCC level.
Yeah, so let's ask Surya, because he has already done his PCC through the portfolio path. What is that he knows different that you all don't know? Yeah, Surya, go ahead.
I don't know if it is different, but I agree with most of what Shivani said. One other thing that in my case, I also found, which would become eligible in place of the level 1, level 2 training, through ICF is I've been conducting coaching training long back, in the 97 and 98, around that time. So I presented that partly that also as proof of education. And apart from that, of course, allied non-ICF trainings. So I had to, as Shivani said, the documentation primarily involved mapping those training content and activities with the ICF competencies. I think that was the requirement and challenge. But other than that, I think I could account for all the coaching experiences, coaching hours, and so on prior, through as prior experience. Yeah, so that's what come to my mind. Yeah.
Okay, so before explaining the portfolio path, let me just lay out the eligibility and the requirements for any credential, and then we'll talk about the ICF MCC. Yeah? So the way that ICF has designed the credential is that you need to be eligible to apply for their credentials. There are 3 eligibility criteria. And then once you apply, there are 3 requirements that you have to meet. Sorry, 2 requirements, right? What is the eligibility? Coaching education, mentor coaching, and client coaching hours. When you have all these 3, you apply. So you have the eligibility to apply for your credentials. Once you apply, ICF requirements is that you need to pass the performance evaluation, and then you pass the exam. Okay. Now, ACSCH program was approved only for the coaching education, right? The institute will give you coaching education. If they want to give mentoring, they can give it for an additional cost. The performance evaluation is done by ICF. ACTP is accredited coach training program, where your coaching education, your mentoring, your performance evaluation, all of them were done by the institute. Now the ACTP has become level 2 now. Okay, they don't have ACSTS for your ACC credentials. They've just copy pasted the level 2 to level 1. That's the only difference that they have done. Okay. Now anybody who is going to join fresh for a coaching education program with an institute to do a ACC credential or a PCC credential, they either have to do level 1 or level 2. There's no other choice other than doing a portfolio. Okay. Now, portfolio is, as far as the eligibility is concerned, it's the same thing. Requirement is considered the same, right? What does portfolio mean? You go and gather a coaching education from different training institutes. And as far as they meet the ICF standards is ICF core competencies, code of ethics, and ICF definition of coaching. ICF will recognize them as coaching education. Okay. And then you have to find a mentor. The mentor will have to mentor you at least for hours. Out of the 10 hours, minimum 3 hours should be one-on-one. The remaining can be group sessions. And you put in your application with recordings. If it is ACC 1 recording, PCC 2 recordings, MCC 2 recordings. Okay, that's the portfolio. Because it's a portfolio part, ICF will take a little bit longer time compared to the other things, because in the other, they don't have to take too much time to verify coaching education because the coaching education already approved by them. Other education, they'll take time because they need to go through and see whether they are meeting the standards. Yeah. Now, when it comes to level 3, coaching providers, coach education providers are only allowed to give coaching education along with mentoring. The 75 hours minimum, level 3, will have coaching education plus 10 hours of mentoring. Okay. The 2 recordings, whether you go through the level 3 path or the portfolio path, it has to go to ICF. There is no shortcut to it. Okay. When they clear the recordings, you will have to go through the ICF credential exam, pass it, and they'll give the credential. Now, what is the advantage of a portfolio? Now, let's assume for a moment, let's assume that this could be a typical case with you all also, I don't know, but I have examples. Say somebody enrolled for a level 2 program with an institute in 2022, January. Okay. January 2022, they enrolled for a level 2 program. They went through the program. They accumulated 500 hours over a period of 2 years. They applied for their credentials, PCC, and they got it. Okay. Now, let's assume that person had some other coaching education. For example, Marshall Goldsmith's stakeholder centered coaching, which that person did it in 2019, 3 years prior. Okay. Marshall Goldsmith coach stakeholder center coaching is considered as CCEs, and it is already approved by ICF as CCEs. Okay. So for any coach education to be considered as a ICF approved, to be acknowledged by ICF, that coaching education should have a minimum 30 hours. So Marshall Goldsmith's program has got 36 hours. So ICF will take it as coaching education. What is done in 2019? The advantage is somebody who did Marshall Goldsmith in 2019, because they started the coaching education in 2019, the client coaching hours will get counted from then. right? Because you decide to go through the portfolio path. If you did the level 3 path, then your client coaching hours get started from when you started your level 2, which is 2022. So you lost about 3 years of your client coaching experience. Okay, Jill, please, you kind of, I saw the facial expression. Please clarify your question.
But the client hours were just when you started, like if you've done your ACC and PCC and going to your MCC, it's cumulative.
No. Yeah, it's cumulative. What I'm saying is, let's assume you started your ACC in 2020, for example. Yeah. Okay, let's look at your case, Jill. Just take us through when you started your ICF credentialing, and I'll help you answer, because then you'll be able to relate much better.
So in 2015, I started my credentialing with Coach Incorporated. So that was the beginning of ACC training. And at that point, I started to accumulate hours. As soon as the training started, I started to accumulate coach training hours. So within 9 months, applied for ACC, and then continued to accumulate hours. I did my level 2 with Coach U as well. And by 2019, applied for my PCC. Yeah, so I have renewed my PCC, I think, twice. And now this is my 3rd time. I've just renewed it. And now before the next renewal, I'm hoping to apply for MCC. So my assumption is my hours have been accumulating since 2015. That's my understanding.
Fantastic. Exactly. Your understanding is right. What I'm saying is, let's assume for a moment, 2012, you did some other coaching education. It's not approved by ICF. Let's assume for a moment. Yeah. Either you went through a coaching education program, or you designed and delivered some kind of a coaching education program for a bunch of people. Okay. Minimum 30 hours in 2010. Let's assume, right? So if you did that, your coaching education date starts in 2010, not in 2015 for portfolio path. So you can start counting your client coaching hours from 2010, because that is your start date of the coaching education. Have I cleared it for you? That's what it is. Okay. So that is one thing, right? Now, what is the other advantage of the portfolio? The ICF learning portal right now has got close to, at least to my knowledge, more than 150 courses available for you. And all of them, if you're a member, all of them are free for you. Right? Some of them are 1 hour, some of them are 90 minutes and all of that. You just have to do those bits and pieces and cover up for your whatever balance is left for your 200 hours of coaching education. You can use those CCs as coaching education. And ICF will accept that as coaching education because it is their course. They can't say no. Okay. Now, what all is considered as coaching education? So I'm just coming back to Jill. So Jill, for example, if you had designed and delivered education which can be mapped to ICF core competencies, they can be considered as coaching education. However, it will be counted only once. Let's assume, for example, let's assume that you designed a workshop on coaching presence. I'm just randomly throwing a title, yeah? And you ran it for 2 days. It's about 16 hours, okay? But you did that multiple batches. Let's say you ran like 5 batches. It's not 5 into 16, 80 hours. Once, 16 hours, ICF will take it as 16 hours of coaching education. Like that, you could have done multiple programs, and all of that will be considered as coaching education by ICF. All of that is there on the website. If you want me to take you through the website, I can very quickly do that also. If you have any questions, clarify, and then I can go there.
I have a clarification question. You mentioned something about it having to be 30 hours, right? Is that
very first one.
first one? Okay.
Very
Alright.
first.
But after that, it can be the CCs that we
Yeah,
accumulate, the chapter events.
yeah.
And
For you to start calculating client coaching hours, the very first one should be a minimum 30 hours.
minimum 30. Okay. To start
After
counting.
that, yeah. After that, it can be any number. No issues.
And one more clarification question is, like, for example, I got my PCC and now currently I have 100 CCs accumulated. Now, when I apply for my renewal of PCC, I only need 40. Can I use the rest of the 60 later for my next renewal, or I can? Okay.
No, you can use the remaining 60 for renewals. Remaining 60 can be considered for your coaching education, because renewal is counted from the time that you renew. If you've done any coaching education before that, it will be counted for your coaching education, not for renewals.
Not for renewal. Okay, perfect. But I can still use it for coach education.
Coaching,
From first training, which is 30 hours.
yeah.
Okay.
Amitabh, what questions do you have?
No questions at this stage. I think it's pretty clear.
Jill, what questions can I clarify for you?
And yeah, usually when I do my renewals, I just put all the CCUs that I had collected in that time frame. So since the last time I had applied till the time I'm renewing, I just put everything inside that I've done chronologically. And so it kind of sounds to me like if you've gone beyond the 40 for renewal, it will kind of accumulate, or that's the way it sounds.
Let's assume during your renewal period, you accumulate about 100 hours. Your requirement is only about 40. Just do the 40, keep the remaining with you, and use it for your portfolio path, is what I'm saying. That's what I told you.
Okay, so once you put it in, then it's kind of done.
It is done. But you can still write to ICF and ask whether you can take it back.
If they've been used for renewal, then they can't be used.
But I think I thought I read differently, in the sense that whatever education you've done within a given credential is only really valid at that time. So once you reapply, then it kind of restarts again.
That's for renewal, Jill. That's for renewal. But coaching education, it doesn't apply.
Okay.
So let's assume for a moment. That somebody who's not an ICF member can still go to the learning portal and do courses for free for about 60 CCEs. For free. Yeah. Now, even without becoming an ICF member, they can use it for coaching education. So let's assume somebody did a ACC, 60 hours. Yeah. And they're not a member. They just got the credentials, but they didn't want to become a member. Without becoming a member, they can still go to the ICF learning portal and avail 60 hours of coaching education free. 60 plus 60, 120. They can do whatever 5 hours somewhere, and then 125, they can apply for the PCC. They just have to find a mentor who can help them with the records. What specific questions do you have for yourself in the current situation that you're going through? Jill.
I mean, I'm looking for MCC guidance. I'm looking for polishing my skills. I'm looking for that refinement. So I'm probably going to be going with the other path, because I would, be looking for that kind of, if I've acquired already so many hours, things I need to unlearn, things I need to relearn, things I need to scale up. So I think what this is telling me is I'm really looking for a little bit more of a refined path. So I would probably then be going for level 3 training and working with that process, because I'm not really looking at doing things piecemeal, and just accumulating I'm more looking at skill development.
Yeah. Yeah. Amitabh, what questions can I clarify for you?
Yeah, in fact, I would say the current moment I am with Jill because I am also looking at unlearning quite a few things. I've been fairly busy, with whatever business was coming my way, and I had felt no need. And business is all about getting clients and retaining. It's less about demonstrating your skills as it's wanted by the NCC. So I'm not really confident of walking into and subjecting myself to an MCC kind of performance evaluation rather than I'd like to refurbish the basics. So I'm looking at mentoring as a far more, as a bigger option,
Sure.
possibly.
Yeah, that option also is available. If you just want to do mentoring, that option is available as well. Yeah, Shivani, what questions do you have?
The only specific question that I have is when is a good time to start MCC mentoring? At what hours, and yeah, just want to hear what you have to say.
I would say the moment you've crossed about 1,000 hours, if you are looking at MCC as a long-term thing, it's better to start when you cross 1,000 hours, because let's assume that you continue to coach at a PCC level till about 2,000, 2,500 hours, and then you suddenly find a mentor. There's going to be a lot of unlearning that you need to do, right? So anything before 1,000 maybe a little too early. After 1,000 also, about 1,000, 1,500, I think you can still manage. Definitely after 1,500. If you are seriously considering MCC, you should start looking at working with an MCC mentor.
And when we're doing MCC application, I mean I may be wrong, but shouldn't the mentoring hours be in the last 18 months or something?
No. Mentoring hours, there's no validity for that.
Okay.
There's a number of, I think 25%, some number of client coaching hours should have happened within 18 months prior to putting in the application.
Okay.
For
So
mentoring, there is
mentoring is
mentoring.
happen over 3 months, not together.
Mentoring has to happen for a minimum period of 3 months, but there is no range. So let's assume that you get mentored for 3 months now. You can apply after 10 years, no issues.
Right. But it can't be like we do 5 hours today, 5 hours tomorrow and done. That's not what it means, right? It has to be minimum 3 months. But it can, you're saying it doesn't have to be close to the app.
No. There's no expiry date on the mentoring.
So my another follow-up question about mentoring would be, say I'm nearing 1,500 hours now. If I start my MCC mentoring and we only do it for 3 months, wouldn't I be too out of touch when I come to apply? Like, should the mentoring be more spread out?
Okay. So So I'm talking about minimum requirement by ICF. So the first cohort that I started in last year, January, the group sessions got over in like 4 months. One-on-one sessions, one person said, I'm only going to do 2 sessions now. And after that, I'm going to chill. When I get close to 2,000 hours, I will do the remaining. Which is perfectly fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay. I think that's all the questions I had about mentoring.
Srikanth, I have just one question.
Sure, go ahead.
How is the portfolio path? Is it in any way different from the PCC when it comes to MCC?
No, there is no difference. 2 recordings have to get still vetted by the ICF, not by the institute. Portfolio is the same.
And 10 hours of mentoring.
Minimum 10 hours.
Minimum 10 hours of mentor coaching and 2,500 hours of client contact hours, right? Okay. And the portfolio of coaching education.
Yeah. Okay, so if you don't have any questions, I very quickly talk about the program that I think all of you have got a brochure, right?
I have
All
it.
of you got the brochure. Yeah. Shivani, you have it?
No.
You don't have it. Okay, I'll show it. I'll show it here and then I'll put it in the chat box. Just give a minute.
I need to drop
Uh,
out to you on WhatsApp to get it. Is that
Yep.
okay?
I can. Yeah. I can.
Thank
I
you so
can do that.
much.
Yeah. So all of you have the brochure in case you want to have
I
it,
would
can-
like a copy of the brochure if you can.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to put it in. I just very quickly show it and then I'll put it in the drop. Yeah. Just give me. So this is the brochure. Become a ICF portfolio path. If you go down, answer some questions here, spoken about the path, then one-on-one mentoring for 6 hours. What will happen there? Mentoring coaching for 8 hours. What will happen there? Monthly practice sessions for 4 hours. What will happen there? So we will have 2-hour mentor coaching sessions every month for 4 months and 1-hour practice sessions for every month for 4 months. That will be about 12 hours of group sessions. And then we will do 6 one-on-ones. You can click on this LinkedIn profile. This is the person who got the MCC through the portfolio path under me. And all these people are going through their journey right now. This person's 2 recordings got cleared this morning. So this is the program schedule. You can see the schedule here. Yeah. So I'm going to put this in the chat box. Just give me a minute. Sure. Okay. Program brochure. It's done. I'll just put the schedule separately. I'll put the schedule. Okay. Schedule is here. Done. Yeah. If you want more details on the commercials, I can share it with you. If you don't need it, then I'm going to, of course, not. Don't want to put pressure on you. Yeah. What I will do is I will send the email to you. I will send a recording of this email and the brochure. In case you want to sign up, I will also share the details. Surya, what questions do you have?
No, Srikant, I'm
Right.
clear. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Srikant, for just
Amitabh, what questions do
clarifying.
you have?
Yeah, thank you for clarifying these points. It's been very helpful. Yeah.
Thank you, Srikanth.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
Yeah, I will send you the email of the recording and the brochure and the flyer. And in case you want to look at signing up for this, I can also send you the details.
Wonderful. That will be very helpful.
All right. Okay.
Sure.
Sure.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.